And what makes Kenyan hip hop Kenyan?
For me, I think language plays a very critical role in defining the nature of music in a particular region. Because you'd find that the instrumentation is very similar to what a New York producer or a European producer, hip hop producer would be doing. But the delivery, the content, the experiences of the artist are what makes the music unique to that region.
And what is it about the language and the content of the words that makes it Kenyan?
First of all, being slang, it's very unique to anywhere else. And I mean, how would I define it? It's the fact that the music they use slang language. It's a modern way of expression. It's very new and it's very unique to Kenya. Our slang. I mean, every other country has its own version of slang. So I think the way they articulate their words, the way they tell their stories and experiences as artists defines the sound that artist has, and that makes him very particular to the region.
And does Kenyan hip hop travel in the way that, say, Nigerian hip hop with people like P Square travel?
I wouldn't say P Square are hip hop artists. They are more pop artists. Pop music will definitely travel because the audience is quite large as compared to being strictly hip hop. Hip hop, the Kenyan hip hop itself, I mean, what we'd call traditional hip hop, what we'd call traditional hip hop hasn't really traveled. I mean, it has gained momentum in the recent years thanks to MTV and Channel O and BET being able to play some of those songs, but it hasn't enjoyed the massive success you'd say with Benga artists like the Susan Owios, the Susan Kibuko. I mean, with the Susan Owios and the Susan Gashukia's style of music, or the Sauti Sol, or even the Unasi, it hasn't made such strides. We have a Camp Mula. They're trying. They've been widely recognized, but it hasn't really proven to be a crowd puller, as you'd say with Eric Wainaina's concert or our Sauti Sol concert in Denmark or in South by Southwest Festival.
So it's the traditional music that travels rather than
because you find that this traditional music is very unique to us, and the audiences out there have no other avenues of listening to it. It's not played on MTV, it's not on BET. So the only chance to go listen to this music is when these artists are in that country. So I guess that plays a big role in how our music is disseminated throughout the world.
And you were saying that there's very big constraints on playing live music across the country. Why is that?
The biggest constraint that come about with playing live music is, first of all, the investment is quite high. We don't produce our own equipment, so we have to ship everything. And the costs that come with that are quite enormous. For them to make any business sense, they have to charge a certain amount. So you find that for music establishment to maximize on profits and reduce the expenses, they'd rather buy the lower cadre of instruments. And most of these urban artists are not used to using such equipment, because in the studio you have the high quality gear, but when you go to perform live, that gear doesn't exist.
So what would you find if you went to a club
a typical club, their way, they just have a DJ set, 3-4 microphones, 3-4 speakers and a sub. Even if they have a live set, you'd find that the drums are not taken care of, the guitars are out of tune, the quality of guitar is not the best. So you find that it's very difficult for a studio artist to reproduce his music with that kind of equipment. So they opt to go for the CD, and that limits what they can do, because from my experience, when you're doing live music, it's not just about the sound, it's about the experience. It's how you can interact with the crowd, how you can interact with the different players who are contributing to that sound. And because of that lack of experience, you tend to find that it's very difficult for us to export our music in live avenues and festivals where that is the norm.